Our country seems very divided because it's divided online. Social media just exacerbates the worst qualities of our country. 80% of Americans agree on 80% of issues. I firmly believe that.
What exactly is social media rewarding? It's not rewarding empathy.
Outrage. It rewards outrage. It rewards conspiracy theories. Social media, I feel like, has become an outlet for so many people who have felt like they couldn't say things to their neighbors. What I learned through it all is that get off social media. Social media is in real life. Get back on the ground. Go meet your neighbor. Go start having conversations about your values rather than who you support politically, because you'll be a lot more aligned than disaligned.
I'm Scott Barry Kaufman.
And I'm Allison Reese.
I'm a psychologist.
And I'm an improv comedian.
And using the affirmative powers of yes and, we're going to attempt to do the impossible.
Mend our cultural and political divide. This might get awkward. Awkward. Today we are talking to Aaron Parnas. He's an attorney, an independent journalist, and with 5 million followers, he's one of the most trusted sources of online news. His Substack newsletter, The Parnas Perspective, is one of the top newsletters on the entire platform.
In this episode, we'll find out what actually makes Aaron laugh. We'll trace how he went from supporting Trump in 2016 to moderating Kamala Harris's book tour less than a decade later. And we'll hear his unexpected take on how to mend America's political divide. And later, we'll even play an improv game to make some funnies from Aaron's headlines.
Welcome to This Might Get Awkward. Today we have on Aaron Parnas. Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, super excited to be here. I'm an independent journalist. I provide news updates in under 60 seconds or less, 25 times per day on all social media platforms, educating folks across the country, across the world about everything that they need to know about, whether it's domestic or international politics. So yeah, super excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you on. What you do is so important. We're in this wild west of the internet, and it's been so cool to see you at the helm of this new generation of what it means to get your news. Before we dig into all that, this show is within the world of comedy as well as politics and conversations and bridging divides. But first I want to start off with Aaron. What kind of comedy do you like to watch?
I honestly don't even have a ton of time to watch anything, let alone comedy. But when I do, it's typically late night clips on YouTube that I end up watching.
I love that. That's personally for me, one of my favorites. I've always wanted to work in the late night world, and I've always been kind of in there. I did a Kamala Harris impression for a while.
Yes, you
and
did.
I ran a podcast that was like a late night comedy talk show where I got to do those jokes as Kamala. But that's so fun. Late night comedy, which is so important now more than ever. And we have a clip here from Jon Stewart's first show back on air in 2024 on The Daily Show, talking about Joe Biden running for president against Donald Trump.
They are the oldest people ever to run for president, breaking by only 4 years the record that they set.
Very true.
So true. Truth in comedy,
Yeah, does John give you hope for the future of late night, or what are your thoughts about the future of late night right now?
I don't know where the future of late night's going, honestly. I hope it sticks around. I hope that we can continue supporting late night comedy across the board, not just Jon Stewart. But I don't know. With this administration, who knows what's going to end up happening? They've
put in a lot of effort to crack down on late night comedy specifically, it feels like, at least from my purview of efforts to get Colbert off the air, to get Kimmel off the air. Feels like a major threat to such a storied institution, not only in America, but just in humanity. Satire's been around since, ancient Greece was when it was first, I think, recorded.
I think it's kind of unimaginable to think of Jon Stewart being canceled, though, don't you think? There's something about him and his universal appeal across both sides, perhaps?
Yeah, I agree. I think this entire kind of environment that we're living in right now, where people are just being canceled for their thoughts and their opinions, it's funny. For a long time, the right hated cancel culture, right? They hated the cancellation of people because they said something that they didn't like or whatever. now they're doing the exact same thing they hated. So let's not be hypocrites. Let's just kind of like let's be real about what's happening here. It's you're canceling people because you don't like what they have to say, even if you didn't like being canceled just a few years back.
I'm trying to think of what made that particular clip we showed so funny. Do you think analyzing a joke like kind of kills it?
Yeah, there's a whole book about that actually, called "Poking a Dead Frog" by Mike Sachs.
Well, it's true. I mean, the clip, what he was saying is true. So it's like it's funny, but it's also true. It's not like he's making things up, right? So.
Yeah, and there's like this, there's a recognition in that humor too of first you're laughing because you're like, yeah, they're old, and then you're laughing because you're like, oh yeah, they were old before, and we were saying that, like,
yeah,
the
literally.
record that they set. I think comedy, it's so important. It sheds like a new light on information. Not only does it like provide information in a new and interesting way for people to like digest a little better and a little easier. If you can turn something that is deeply unfortunate or dark or unsettling, if you can turn it into a joke in a way that doesn't diminish it, that has a lot of staying power with people. And I think that's why shows like The Daily Show or Colbert and Kimmel, that's why they're able to like get across to folks. I know there are a lot of people who prefer getting their information in that way, in at least an entertaining way. I do a lot of stuff online, and sometimes I find that with political comedy and satire, folks have a warped sense of what satire is and will really imprint their own ideas and emotions onto that. And when that happens, it's hard not to get caught up in those comments of like hate comments or like trolling comments. So Aaron, I'm curious if there's anything in particular you do that helps you kind of mitigate that. Because that's the thing I don't know that we talk a lot about as folks with like, I mean, you have a massive following. How do you manage that?
I don't really do it. I don't do satire. I kind of just stick to the facts. So that's how I kind of stay away from all of that.
Well, this podcast is all about mending the political divide. And you have experience on both sides of the divide, if I understand. How did you go from supporting Donald Trump at one point to moderating Kamala Harris's 170 days book tour?
That's the beauty of America, I guess. I mean, truth be told,
True.
When I supported Donald Trump publicly, that was back when I was a child. I was not even 18 years old. When Donald Trump announced, I was just turned 16 years old. So I was not even an adult. I was not old enough to vote, never voted for Trump, never was even able to at the time. And when you grow up in a household that all you know is Fox News, all you see on TV is like Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity, and all that's being talked about in the house is how good one person is, then that's what you align yourself with. But for me, it was never like I'm a Republican or I'm just a Trump supporter. The earliest memory I have with politics is back in 2012 when on election night between Obama and Romney, my family went to an election night party in South Florida, and everyone was supposed to wear either red or blue to show who you were supporting. I decided to wear orange because I hated the polarization even back then of like, why do I have to fit myself into a certain bucket? And so for me, I didn't really know what I stood for politically. I just knew what my family liked, and that was Donald Trump. And so that's how I supported him. And then when I went to law school and moved out and just kind of had more lived experiences on my own, those thoughts began to shift. And I started kind of having a political realization of sorts.
How's this shift affected your relationships? Like both online, of course, and with friends?
I mean, it's been interesting. I have a very close group of friends that I don't really talk politics to. I don't like making politics my life, even though that's my job. I make relationships not based on politics, but rather based on whether or not I like them as people. And so I'm friends with Republicans. I'm friends with Democrats. I'm friends with people who voted for Trump, people who didn't vote, people who voted for Kamala. I mean, politics is not and should not be the deciding factor for any friendship, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can you say that louder to the people in the back?
Yeah.
That is such an important message today. And perhaps that's also part of your popular appeal and why you've caught on people. There's something about, the eroding trust in media, right? And man, if you can, a lot of people trust you, Aaron, and that's like saying a lot in this climate.
It is, but it's truly, an honor and a blessing. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity, truly.
Can I ask, as someone who, quote unquote, changed sides, what perspectives can you shed on our divide as a country, politically, culturally?
Our country seems very divided because it's divided online. Social media has divided our country. I don't think our country is actually that divided interpersonally. Truthfully, social media just exacerbates the worst qualities of our country. It really becomes an echo chamber for the voices on the far right, and the voices on the far left. And then 80% of Americans agree on 80% of issues. I firmly believe in that. They want lower costs. They want better housing. They want an economy that's working for them, not the top 1%. You ask an average American, they will all agree with it, whether they have an R or a D next to their name. And so I really think what I learned through it all is that get off social media. Social media is in real life. Get back on the ground. Go meet your neighbor. Go start having conversations about your values rather than who you support politically, because you'll be a lot more aligned than disaligned.
That's beautiful. And that kind of answers our question of, Aaron, how would you mend the political cultural divide, which is,
I would require everyone to go and walk next door and just talk to your neighbor. And truly, that's what people need to be doing more.
That's so fascinating, because I feel like every guest we've had on, not every guest, but so many of our guests have said that. I feel like what people are craving is that connection and community with one another.
100%. It's lacking everywhere.
And yet, Aaron, you spend most of your day probably on social media, and you're likely the youngest person ever to hand deliver news to millions of Americans. What responsibility do you think comes with that?
A tremendous responsibility. I have to be 100% accurate. If I lie, millions of people across the world are going to be seeing a lie. And spreading misinformation and disinformation is one of my biggest fears. And so I have to be extra careful about what I put out, how I put out content, etc.
Yeah. Is that how you would say you would ensure you come across as clear as possible in this digital age? Because it feels like everything can be just misconstrued and taken out of context. Is there anything specific you do to mitigate?
By just sticking to the facts. For example, I think yesterday there was a video that went viral on social media where Caroline Leavitt was at the White House podium, and she was asked a question about whether or not Donald Trump had any plans for additional White House renovations after his ballroom. And we could get into that, but the clip was 30 seconds long, and Caroline Leavitt's answer was essentially, no additional plans right now. Obviously we don't know the future. And then she goes, the ballroom is his primary priority at this time. Okay. To me, I listened to that and I was like, well, that's what she means is that in terms of construction, the ballroom is his primary thing. But there are a lot of people who took that clip for whatever reason and just had that last sentence. The president's primary priority at this time is the ballroom in a government shutdown. And that clip now has, I think, 20 million views.
Oh my
God. It happens across the board. Republicans do it, Democrats do it, everywhere. It happens everywhere. So it's very dangerous, honestly.
It feels like the cons of everything being so memeable is that everything now is memeable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What exactly is social media rewarding? It's not rewarding empathy.
Outrage. It rewards outrage. It rewards conspiracy theories. Social media, I feel like, has become an outlet for so many people who have felt like they couldn't say things to their neighbors. Social media has created some of the best and worst parts of society, but it's so polarizing because it promotes that outrage.
What can you do to be as clear as possible in your message, knowing that it could be taken out of context? What can someone do to ensure or increase the likelihood that their message will actually be heard accurately?
By being trustworthy. Truthfully, if Caroline Leavitt was a trustworthy press secretary, that statement would have never gotten out of context. Would never. People would have understood what she was saying, right? But when you go up to the podium and you lie regularly on behalf of the president, people don't trust you and people want to bring you down.
So true. Now, I want to bring up, in an interview, you once said a lot of people get angry at me for reporting the news instead of being angry at the news itself. Could you talk a little bit more on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the common phrase, don't shoot the messenger, right? Like, I'm just a messenger. And a lot of people are angry about the content that I put out regularly and get mad at me for putting it out. And my thing is, well, I'm not the one causing this anger. The news is, right? Like, I'm just that vessel for you to get information. You don't have to watch me. You can go read that news. You can go watch TV. You can go listen to the radio. But don't get mad at the people providing you the information. Get mad at the information if that's what you're really mad about.
Don't kill the messenger. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially.
Now, there's another great quote you gave, and I want to see if we can dig into it a bit. Authenticity and performance aren't opposites, but partners. And that feels, maybe that's like connected to something that you're saying with the Caroline Levitt trustworthiness aspect of things. But can we dig into that quote a little bit? Authenticity and performance aren't opposites, but partners. What do you mean by that?
For sure. When you're authentic, your content's going to perform. When you're inauthentic, your content's not going to perform. I mean, that it's 100% accurate. And the people that succeed online are authentic in the content they put out, in the content that they make. You have to be 100% authentic for sure.
It's so true. And it feels so difficult to be authentic these days in the age of social media, because there's this looming shadow of like cringe. There's like this cringe shadow that you don't want to fall into and get made fun of for. And I think that's a really, lovely sentiment of like, you just got to be yourself and be honest,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You have to be honest. If you're not honest, you're not going to perform.
I think like self-belief matters too, right? In a lot of this, sometimes even if you're like cringing watching your videos, like you still have to believe that your message is important. And I also just think about the word authenticity, because in the field of psychology, no one agrees on what that word means. And, to some people, it's saying whatever's on your mind at any point. And I call that just being foolish. Some people view it as having integrity, which is what you have, Aaron. But that's a different definition of authenticity, is staying true to your values in environments where people challenge them. That's another definition. So how would you define authenticity?
Just by being you, unapologetically you. I'm the same way I'm online, I am in person. I don't change. I think that's what makes me authentic. I don't care what I look like. I don't care how I sound. Perfect is the enemy of good, in my opinion. So that to me is authenticity.
This whole conversation reminds me of a quote that is, "Don't kill the cringy part of you. Kill the part of you that cringes."
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah, of like,
that's a good quote.
Just do your thing, be yourself. You got to be authentically you. I do a lot of comedy, and it's funny enough, a lot of these isms kind of come up in that, right? Like you want to be authentic. You want to be your best self. You don't want to invent, right? In comedy, you want to bring the truth forward. But another thing we talk about a lot is about listening, and how there are other ways to listen other than your ears. You use your body language. You listen to the energy of the room. And so, Aaron, I'm curious as to what are non-conventional ways that you listen as a journalist that don't involve literal listening with your ears?
That's a good question. I don't think I actually have many unconventional ways. I don't read comments. I don't try to absorb how my audience wants content produced. I just do it all kind of in my own frame of mind. So I don't think there are other ways that I do it, at least right now.
I mean, from the outside looking in, it looks like you listen to yourself and your integrity. As opposed
I don't listen to my own videos. I do listen.
Don't watch them.
I don't watch my own videos. No.
It's hard to watch your own stuff, because then you're like, why is my voice that way?
Yeah.
Hate it.
I've been thinking, how is social media in a way redistricting the political news landscape, so to speak? How's it kind of changing the game?
Well, social media to me, is the most democratizing force that journalism has ever seen, in the sense that it's just a new medium for people to get information out. There was radio, there was print, TV came about, and now you have social media. It's just the next kind of venture for journalism. And it has allowed anyone to, in a way, become a journalist, because anyone now can go on the ground, make a video, show people information, accurate information, and post it. Now, there are a lot of people who call themselves journalists that aren't journalists on social media, and that is a downfall to it. But at the same time, allowing the public to kind of see real, timely information all day, every day is amazing. And it's not it's threatening the mainstream in a lot of ways.
That just reminds me of a thing that happened to me at the DNC. So I was invited to the DNC, and you were as well, as a part of this push to get some content creators in there, because they were recognizing that there's this quote unquote redistricting of the news landscape. And now there were some folks who were there as journalists like yourself, and then there were folks more like me who were there as content creators. And it was so interesting because they had this little area for us, and my thing is so silly. Like in comparison to like the stuff you do, I'm putting on a wig and I'm pretending to be Kamala Harris. And I remember these old school journalists came up to me, and I actually have it on tape somewhere. I never released this, but these guys were like, "Hey, so what you doing? You got a camera? Oh, and you're doing, so why are you here? You're doing impression? That's it? That's all you," and it was like really, it freaked me out. I was like, oh wait, what? And like people from the DNC had to kind of be like, "Hey guys, leave her alone." And it was so interesting. And then the next day there was an article that came out about the content creators there, kind of, shaming us for being there. Did you have any experience with that in particular?
No, I try to avoid those interactions as much as I could. The DNC was so unique in that when at an event like that, you have thousands and thousands of legacy journalists from all around the world. So it's not like what people think about journalism. They think about CNN, Fox, MSNBC, WAPO, New York Times, whatever. There are thousands of news organizations, and thousands of them get credentialed for events like the DNC. So you have a bunch of weirdos at these events who come up to you and try to do things like that and try to degrade the work that you're doing. And it's unfortunate, but you just got to keep pushing on. Yeah,
well, there was a glimmer of hope there in that last. Keep pushing on, so that's good, right? What gives you hope, that our divide can be mended in our lifetime?
Just the fact that democracy has survived this long. It's not actually, in my opinion, dying. Like there are events that make it harder for democracy to survive, sure, but our country's been around for 249 years, and we faced our trials and tribulations, but the pendulum has always swung back, and I think it'll swing back again.
Okay, hypothetical thought experiment. What do you think we discover if everyone in this country had to swap social media feeds for a whole week?
Oh, you'd have a lot of people canceled very quickly.
Oh boy.
Do you think any minds could be changed with that?
No, because I don't think social media is a place to change minds. It's a place to feed into your echo chambers.
Yeah, and the place to change minds is interpersonal, in
Correct.
Community and connection.
Well, do you feel like you are in an echo chamber, or do you actually feel like you're an interesting exception to this in a way?
When I started, I was definitely in an echo chamber, but now I think things have definitely changed. I mean, I have Republicans and independents coming up to me all the time saying, "I watch your content, like, thanks for what you do." So I'm definitely breaking through, but I think my platform is unique in a lot of ways because I don't try to make it a partisan platform. And so anyone can watch it, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, and you'll get information. You don't have to like me or agree with me on everything, and that's fine, but come get your information and move on.
Aaron, I want to know, and this feels like such a fun get to know you question, but if you could invite one person you disagree with to dinner, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would you ask them first?
I would sit down with Donald Trump in a heartbeat tomorrow, tonight, make it happen. And the question I would ask him is, why? Like, why do you want to do this? I don't think being president of the United States is actually fun. I don't think anyone actually enjoys it. It's the one job in the world where you're constantly criticized every single day, no matter what you do and no matter how you do it. You have all the eyes on you. You have for the rest of your life, you have no ability to have any sort of semblance of privacy. So like, why do it again? You did it for 4 years. Why come back?
It's a good question.
It's an amazing question. Yeah.
I wonder what he would say. I'm so curious.
Yeah.
I never asked him directly. Why did you do this again?
But also asking him in that way of such that's coming from a place of empathy of like, hey, why do you want to, like, that seems hard, right? This seems hard and difficult. And why would you want to embrace that level of difficulty in your life for the rest of it? I think there's a lot to say there about, the emotion behind that question. I feel like if I were in a room with Donald Trump, I don't know that I would be as empathetic or as gentle or coming from, that place. And I think that that's great that you would be able to do that, because I think that can reach people, that empathy.
I'm a big believer in getting to know the person, not just a story, right? I mean, like every person behind each story has their own story. And that to me is so much more interesting than just a headline.
I was just watching the Amanda Knox documentary, and the British journalist on there his sentiments were the opposite of that. This was a great story. The story was incredible. What did you want me to do? Fact check it?
Yeah, it's refreshing to see some integrity in journalism.
That's got to be so hard to do on your own. Do you have like a team of folks helping you or a social media manager? You do it all yourself?
I do it all myself.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, what? That's amazing.
Yeah, just me and my phone.
That's a full-time job and a half.
I mean, it is a full-time job, but I love it.
If you could design a class that every high schooler in America had to take to prepare them for civic life, what would it be?
How about just civics?
Ooh.
It's not required, right, for every American right now. Why not start with civics, then go to media literacy and ethics?
Media literacy. The amount of time, and we talked about this a little bit in the beginning, I mean, on a comedy level, but just being misunderstood or misconstrued is really difficult at any level, whether you're presenting comedy or sharing the news. And media literacy is so important. We have to understand our world and be able to read into it. So because we deal with comedy in this podcast, I've taken the liberty to stalk Aaron's social media page and write some late night news jokes based off of the news Aaron has provided me and all of us. So without further ado, let's get into our late night news segment where we're going to tell some news jokes. Scott, why don't you kick us off?
In an effort to build a new ballroom, the Trump admin has completely demolished the East Wing of the White House. Said Trump, "I would have gotten rid of the West Wing, but I think Rob Lowe is in that, and I love Rob Lowe. So fit, so manly."
Alex Jones and Mike Lindell are now leading the Pentagon press corps, meaning that the information we receive from the Pentagon will be coming from two known conspiracy theorists. The last time I saw a storm this perfect, it swept Baby Grinch into Whoville after that key party. It's kind of fun.
All right. I gave myself the craziest one to save you guys. And
Thank you.
Virginia Democrats have decided to redraw district maps to pick up 2 to 3 congressional seats for Democrats. Outraged, West Virginia Republicans redrew their maps to depict tiggle bitties.
I can't laugh at these things. You're going to get me canceled.
I can.
Yeah, we'll laugh for you. We'll get canceled for you as well. All right, Aaron, bring us home.
A DC man was detained for playing the Star Wars theme song of the Imperial March at the National Guard while they were deployed in DC for ICE raids. What's weirder is that instead of reading him his Miranda rights, they asked him if he wanted to plead the Sith. But
amazing.
That's a good dad joke.
That was really, I thought, and yes, great dad joke. Wonderful delivery. I feel like you're a natural.
Oh, thank you.
Move over, Jon Stewart. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us, for entering a discussion with us, offering, your insights into the world of news and politics, and for getting down with a little comedy with us as well. It was really fun.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
We really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you, dude.
You too. Take care, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. This Might Get Awkward is hosted by me, Allison Reese, and Scott Barry Kaufman. Our producers are Julia Pinheiro, Kelly Leonard, and Gabrielle Yasik. Our editor is Peter Cooper. Mix and master by George Miata. Graphics by Alec Hall. Special thanks to Melissa Miller, APM Music, and the Argosy Foundation. This podcast is a production of The Second City.